Right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first episode, the very first episode of Authentic Dialogues with Tajo. So, thank you so much for tuning in. And today we are talking authenticity in coaching. So, you can just imagine my excitement, two of the very topics that I really, really love coming together. I think it's going to be a really exciting one today. So sit back and relax, have some coffee, and join this dialogue with this amazing panelist that we have. Our guest today um, is Queen Ramotshehoa. I hope I'm pronouncing it well.
Yeah, you are.
And because I'm an African girl and a village girl, I call her Old Queen because she's much older than me. So just for that respect. But her full name is Queen Ramotshehoa, and you can find her on Facebook and other social media as her name. So, Old Queen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It is an absolute pleasure, and I think it's a privilege for me to have you here to share your wisdom, to share your authenticity with us, to share that beautiful person and soul that I fell in love the first time I met. Welcome to this channel.
Thank you so much, Tato. It's also a pleasure for me to be chatting to you. Like you say, we met and we just connected. And it's the energy between us, and I suppose it's the authenticity, the what you see is what you get. That really
Absolutely, I love
attracted me to you.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking about if I should share the story or not. The first words that you said when I met you, and I was like, let's protect other people's images. So I'm not gonna share, but I'll tell you offline. I will remind you offline. And that's when I said, I like this woman, and I want to do some work with her.
Wow.
Okay, just to officially introduce you, so us Queen Ramotshehoa is an executive coach who specializes in leadership. Another topic that I'm absolutely passionate about. So really authenticity, coaching, and leaders. Those are, I think are even more pertinent in the context that we find ourselves today, because leaders have to make that they faced with enormous decisions to make that impact the society globally and the well-being of people. It's around the well-being. It's about the also how they live their well-being, but also how they live and how they survive in this era.
Yeah.
So we will try and bring that context in this conversation,
Okay,
but
cool.
we're going to be authentic in this thing and just take it as it is.
Cool.
I just want to say, so also while I'm introducing on screen, what I love about when she sent me her short bio, one of the two things that I absolutely loved from her bio, except for all her credentials, which are obvious, is the fact that she also did not omit to mention that she's a wife, she's a mother, she's an aunt, and she's a friend, and I think that's absolutely because
Yeah.
oftentimes we omit to say this, and it's important, it's part of what we are, and it's actually what we are. So we tend to focus on this, I've got this degree, I've got this, and the important part of that really makes us who we are we all forget to mention. So she's also that. She's a wife, she's a mother, she's a sister,
Yes,
she's an
please.
aunt, and she's a beautiful friend.
Yes, please.
And the last thing that she said that I absolutely love is that she chooses life. She 100% chooses life all the time.
Please.
I think that's one thing that That's another thing that connected me with this woman. But I think you've heard my voice for too long now. I had to do this introductory part. I need to also mention to our people joining live on Facebook that because we are using another channel to go live on Facebook, we will not be able to see your comments real time, unfortunately. But the promise once we're done with this to get through to those comments, I want the conversation to really keep going. So just continue posting your comments. Bring your valuable input as well into the conversation. We're really doing this together. So please go ahead and do that. Right. So let's get into it. Let's get into the discussion of today. Today we're discussing authenticity in coaching. So I
Mm,
think just to lay a bit of foundation, I mean, there's many definitions of coaching out there. I studied coaching as well, and you know, you can Google, and even in the scholarly articles, and in the academia, there's a lot of coaching. But there's
mm,
obviously one, you pick the ones that resonates you. So for me, really, we talk about the one that resonates with me is how Jenny Rogers has defined it. And she says, coaching raises self-awareness and identifies choices.
yeah.
And continues to say, working on the client's agenda, the coach and the coachee have the sole aim of closing the gaps between potential and performance. So I like that. And the words that I love more there is self-awareness.
Mm,
And I love the closing the gap between potential and performance.
mm,
Because in coaching, we do realize that the potential is there, but there might be stuff that are in the way that's hindering you for that performance to be optimal. So I'm going to stop there. I want to jump into my connection with coaching to authenticity and how probably can be the driver. So for me, authenticity in coaching, then it means then one discovering themselves. So discovering yourself in a manner that is true to your
mm,
own character, to your own personality, and to some extent to your soul or to your spirit, which is the
mhm.
core and true you. And I see Osquid getting excited about all of this. I can see it
Yeah,
resonates with her.
yeah, yeah.
Before I start with my other questions, Osquin, just in your own words or in your own view, um, in general for you, what does it mean for a person to be authentic? What does it
Yeah.
mean for you to be authentic?
You're authentic when you don't have to act,
Hmm.
when you don't have to position what is not there and you have to act it because you expect that people expect to see it.
Hmm.
Authenticity also doesn't mean that you are confident or you've got it all together. It's just being okay with whatever it is, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I love that.
Embracing it and being able to exist from there and connect from there and create from there and relate from there. So authenticity is no acting,
Hmm.
no
Hmm.
acting.
Hmm. I love the part that where you say that, um and it's to say that it's not like you've got all the confidence in the world, but it's okay with what you have. So it brings that important part about vulnerability.
Yes.
And why do you think being vulnerable is important in this topic?
So you see, sometimes it's the labels that we put that then makes it uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Because vulnerability means the willingness to open yourself up even at your weakest.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
so I'm weak when I don't have what I need to deliver what I need to deliver, and
Okay.
then I go into the self-judgment, and the self-judgment may come as I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm not supposed to be here, all of that. It's the
Hmm.
opening up and the acknowledging what doesn't work. So vulnerability is about that. It's about opening up and accepting what doesn't work and not hiding it, not sugarcoating it. So if I'm scared, I'm scared. If I feel ill-prepared, I feel ill-prepared. And the thing is, whether I say it or not, whether I acknowledge it or not, you can see it.
Hmm.
So the danger with not being vulnerable and authentic is that while I'm working hard to hide what is, the other person can actually see. They may not see exactly what it is that I'm hiding.
Hmm.
They can see that there's something that I'm hiding. And when I do that, I leave people to their imagination. Then they choose what I'm hiding. And that erodes trust.
Oh, that is, you said a mouthful. And I've got so many things going in my mind that I want to just stretch it out. But I'm like, okay, keep focused. You said a lot of things that are quite important. But let's bring it back to coaching. As a coach, and you're an executive coach, you deal with a lot of people that are supposedly have got it all, right? As leaders, as executives. So, but for you as a coach, how important is authenticity for you as a coach, particularly in the coaching space?
So as a coach, my role is to come in and create a safe environment for my client to be vulnerable and deal with the gaps, like you said, okay? So if my responsibility is to create space, a safe space that my client must step into, then I have to be authentic. Because if I am not authentic, my client steps into a fake environment.
Sure.
And that fake environment takes away the safety and the security that my client needs to be authentic and to be vulnerable. Because you see, my client will mirror who I am. So when I'm not authentic, I'm saying to my client, it's not right to be authentic. So you have to act. So I act, my client acts. There's no coaching there. It's just drama, actually. There's no coaching. Because if anything, I'm burdening my client with needing to sugarcoat what they are going through, edit what they want to say, what they are thinking. So they walk away burdened and feeling worse off because my whole being said, what you're dealing with is wrong and it's not good enough to even raise here.
Sure. It sounds like it's a double-edged sword, and it's very important. But my curiosity now comes in, how does the client know it if you are if you're not authentic? Is it something that they sense, or is it how you come across, how then you create, as you said, you then not creating a safe environment for them, but can they sense it? Can it really hamper how they show up and how much they become authentic in the session?
You know, I believe that we connect soul to soul. So irrespective of what we are saying, whether we are grinning and so on, people hear who we are. People don't hear what we say. People don't hear what we do. People hear who we are. They hear our meta language. They hear what we believe in, what we stand for, what we allow, what we don't allow. People connect with all of that. Even if they don't know what it is, the environment is just not safe enough for them to settle.
That is so powerful. Soul to soul. It is so powerful. It's like, yeah, it actually connects with what I said in the launch video when I said the authenticity that I speak about here is that I see you, I feel you, and I hear you. And it's that feeling part where you connect soul to soul. It's that vibration of energy that I speak about, that you just connect with this person beyond the physical.
Exactly.
So it's really exciting. So now we spoke about the inauthenticity of the coach. How about now the coachee? How does the inauthenticity of your coachee make it challenging for you to have a successful coaching engagement?
You're definitely dealing with an actor. You're dealing with an actor, which means because the coachee is acting, even what they bring to the table is not authentic, is not real, because it's edited. Some things have been added, some things have been removed. So what you need to deal with doesn't stick. And because you so this is, you shared the definition of coaching. My definition of coaching is making people see what they need to see.
Love it.
That they don't see.
Mm.
And then holding the space for them to acknowledge the insights, which is what they see, and integrate those insights into decisions and choices that they make. So when my coachee learns and my coachee is inauthentic, there's nothing to see, because the coachee has already blocked certain areas, has already blocked certain areas where the blind spots are, has already tampered with, it's like tampering with a crime scene. it's tampering with the crime. So what you walk away with is, it's not an authentic experience of a coachee. Therefore, what they see doesn't exist. And you see, because the coachee even battles to engage what they put on the table. Because if you ask these open questions that are supposed to make them look, they know that what they are looking at actually is not real. So they actually battle to engage what they've put on the table. So it's just a waste of energy, opportunity. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
So, Queen, then when and I'm sure with experience and with time, you get to immediately see this, right? As we spoke about, it is an energy thing, you feel it. What then do you do as a coach when you realize that, oh, I'm dealing with an actor here? What then do you do? What options do you have as a coach?
So back to being an authentic coach. Normally, I call it out. I say to my client, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not connecting with what is real here. So what's going on? What are you dealing with? Why did you really come here? Did you come because there's something you want? Did you come because somebody said you must come? Did you come because it's what is expected of you to do? Because then those questions will get a person to really look. And when coaches battle, and sometimes when coaches are sent by company or by somebody, and they're really not in it, that's when you find that inauthenticity. The question that brings people back is, if you could use this time. So a coaching moment is a coaching moment. In the history of the world, this moment, Tato, between me and you, is being recorded. So if we could use it powerfully to leave the world richer, what would we use this session for? So that's the question that I then use to support a coachee to let go of the acting and be authentic. So forget the reasons behind why you are here. If you look at this as a moment in your life that is not coming back, and that history will always bring back to you, and that history is recording, what would you use this moment for? For your benefit and the benefit of others. And I find that gets people to let go of the acting. It's sometimes not as easy as that. And that is where we look until we get to acknowledging what is making a person feel the need to act. And we deal with that so that it's out of the way. And then people are able to open up.
It's so fascinating, and I think that's one of the things that I love about coaching, is that nothing is scripted, right? You deal with what you have in front of you in the moment, and you then have to have the insight. I don't know, maybe the insight, not even the intelligence, but the insight and that gut feeling of how in this very moment, how do I deal with this person in front of me and in the situation that we find ourselves in. So you have to be very present as a coach, mentally and physically and even energetically feel what's happening around you. because then you can tune in and then let you know. And I think it goes back to being authentic. I'm starting to get it now, Oz Queen. So if you came here as a coach and you're not authentic, it becomes very challenging for you to navigate very sharply and being sensitive to all of those nuances around you.
Exactly. The coaching demands that you be present enough to discern, and discerning meaning you read every single thing that is part of what is going on. You listen to what is said and what is not being said. You read, there's all those coaching methodologies like Gestalt and all of that, where you read what people are saying, what they're not saying, their facial expressions, their gestures, their energy, the pause, the pitch, all of that. So as a coach, you could miss the most important meaning in a coaching session because you were not available and present in the moment.
Sure.
And for you to be able to, it is, and for you to be able to do that, you have to let go of anything that has got anything to do with your identity. You have to put all of what you have in the commitment that you make to your coachee in the moment. And the commitment is to be 100% present, to discern, to pick up all the critical things that will influence powerful shifts for your clients. By you making them see what they need to see. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So it's really not it's never about you in the coaching session.
Never.
As a coach. It's got nothing to do with you.
No, it's never about you.
Another day. Yeah.
It's never about you.
So let's talk about the fakeness or the acting, right? You would understand that in the world that we live in today, there's a lot of extreme pressure on a lot of people. We get it from the media, from social media, even in our communities, in our families. There's a lot of pressure. And if you find yourself not being authentic enough or not being aligned to who you truly are, you might find yourself succumbing to this pressure that sometimes is just ridiculous, right? Let's just call it ridiculous.
It is.
And so we often walk around with wearing masks and we've got facades on. I'm sure you see it all the time as an executive coach, to be specific. As an executive coach, to be specific. So what, in your experience, would you say are some of those common facades that people put on?
My best one is the minute the person says, I don't know. It's the first indicator that they looked, they saw, they're not comfortable to go there. So saying, I don't know, is supposed to save them from going there.
Sure.
So the most powerful question then is, what if you knew?
I love it. I love it.
The other facade is I need time to look at it. Time outside the coaching session. That's when people are running away because they are sitting in the heat now. They need to run away. So actually, it's a good question. I'll have to look at it outside the coaching session. So what if you could look at it now? What is stopping you from looking now? Where you pick up emotional shifts, especially difficult, and you say, what's going on for you? What do you see? No, it's not in it. It's, so they're trying to, and all of it is really about the not wanting to go there because what I just saw is too big for me to deal with, or I've always known, but I'm not willing to get there yet. So those you can lump in one category like that. The other facade that people put in is where they come in and they are right and everybody is wrong. What they're dealing with is because of everybody. So, I do my best. I'm good. I do this right. I do that right. The being right is one of the craziest facades.
Yeah.
And the question becomes, so what if you're doing everything right, why do you keep attracting that? Because there's something in you that attracts these things. Or what's your contribution? And when you say that, people say,
yeah,
it's not me, it's them.
yeah.
I'm not contributing. I mean, I'm the good guy here. So,
I know everything, was it's not me.
So
yeah.
And most of the facades come from people's need to protect, to hide. And that's where the inauthenticity sits, where I look and I'm not comfortable to engage, so I am not going to go there. So I come up with the acting there. It's not me. I don't know. Next time. Or so can you see it's where a person literally puts up a barrier and hides behind it.
It's actually you going into my next question, because I was going to ask, what are some of those reasons that people put these facades on? Because sometimes they use them as coping mechanisms, as whatever reason, as from running away from whatever fear they may have. And they've gotten away with this for so long that these facades now has become part of somewhat their identity. It has become reality for them now. So what are some of those reasons that people put these facades on and go along with them for so long?
Sometimes, like you say, it's been a survival strategy for the longest time. And it's not a survival strategy that somebody consciously, maliciously adopts. It's a strategy that somebody adopts, and it kept saving them until you adopt it as your strategy for survival. So when I'm under pressure and I say this, I get away. And it becomes how one continues to work. And when you sit in a coaching session sometimes, and for the first time you're confronted with that, this is just the strategy. It's not the truth. I always create the distinction between my truth and the universal truth. When you realize that actually I have been lying to myself. One of the reasons why then we put up this is when I see that I've been lying to myself, the pain that then gets unearthed, the self-disappointment, the self-betrayal that one feels, the self-judgment that one feels is what then makes people want to run away from dealing with it. Because then you stay safe. Because if you need to go there and you cannot but show up, it's the pain, it's the acknowledging, it's the need for self-forgiveness, it's the acknowledging that we've wronged other people, it's the acknowledging that we need to go and ask for forgiveness from those people, it's acknowledging that I was wrong. So instead of dealing with all of that, which is difficult, and the ego doesn't like all of this. The ego doesn't like all of this. So I don't know, the facade, the whatever, maintains the status quo, because I can continue to lie to myself, and I can walk out of here and continue BSing myself instead of doing the work. Because the most difficult work for me has been the work that I have to do on myself. It's hard.
It is. It is hard.
Especially when you think you're the Dondara and you're the most amazing person.
You have arrived, and you are the thing.
And you see this thing and you're like, what?
And it's your job as a coach to hold up this mirror, right? And show people all these ugly things on their face that they are choosing not to see, and remove layers and layers and layers and layers of these facades. So self-awareness that I'm hearing a lot. I mean, ever since we started talking, I'm hearing a lot of self-awareness, and everybody who's a coach would know that that's the starting point to close this gap that we spoke about. Self-awareness, important part, and yet you say, I'm hearing you say that some of the clients, they, when you hold up this mirror and they become aware, it's like, no, I don't want to deal with it. So how do you deal with it then, when, I mean, when we talk about an iceberg, because the tip of an iceberg is what I show every single day, what I live with every day. And when they come to this coaching session, then you start to unearth what's sitting beyond the iceberg, what people don't see, all these horrors and ugly things. Oh, thank you. Do you work out that when you hold up the mirror and the self-awareness is here, and it's like, what do I do now? What do I want to carry on and work on this? As you said, now that's the difficult part. Now I have to work on this thing that I'm seeing.
So you see, that is why the authenticity is such an integral ingredient in the environment that you create and hold for the client. Because if the client sees these horrors and they look at you and they feel judged, they're not going to be able to go there and engage with what they see. When they see the stuff and they experience your compassion, you give them the guts to look. And like we agreed that it's so unique per person, but then it's starting to say, what do you see? How does it make you feel? And how does it show up in who you want to be, where you want to go, the impact that you want to have? If you sustain it, what is the impact? And are you willing to live with the impact? If you don't sustain it, what do you want to put in its place? And how will that enable you to create what you want? Remember, we always say that coaching is about enabling a person to move forward and choose their destination. So what enables people to engage the hojas when they see them, it's when you as a coach know how to support the insight, because we're not engaging what they see. We engaging what they're taking from what they see, the insight.
Yeah.
It's the insight and how they choose to use the insight to continue to build their future. So as coaches, not going, oh my goodness, how do you do that? No. It's really saying, okay, tell me what you're seeing. How does it make you feel? Because sometimes you may even pick up the self-criticism, the self-judgment, and you may pick up the need for self-forgiveness. So you're just really saying, what are you seeing? And what do you want to do with what you see? And enabling them to look at what they see, the choice they want to make about what they see, and link it directly with, this is where you said you want to go. So in relation to this destination, what do you want to do with what you see? That is what is critical. Because then it stops being about the issue. It starts being about the gift that the self-awareness in the moment gives the coachee to make the future better.
And in that moment, then they also stop condemning themselves.
For sure.
Because they realize that the issue and themselves are two separate things. They are not the issue. And now they start dealing with the issue.
So what do you see? It's what do you see, not what are you? It's not what are you. It's what do you see? It's here. What do we want to do with this thing? Yeah.
It's incredibly powerful. I think I want to be a coachee. You've unearthed things on me. So please, this is a coaching session for me already, and I hope it is for some of our people watching and engaging with us. So then we're gonna wrap up very soon because with this online session when you go on and
Yes.
on
Yes.
you lose
Yes.
people and we
Yeah.
don't want to do that. But I mean, speaking of those, you've already started doing that. But if you've got something as well around how coaching is such a powerful tool that I absolutely believe in. It does a lot of things for leaders, for normal people, for everyone really who's committed to making a difference and committed to working to continue the work of the self, which we know it doesn't stop, right? Working
Yeah.
on yourself doesn't stop. There's goals that
Yes.
you want to achieve, there's a gap that you want to close. You want to continue holding up the mirror and being honest with yourself. So how is coaching as a tool, as an intervention? How can it help with the subject of authenticity? How can it help remove these facades that people walk around carrying?
I'm going to answer it in two parts. And when I am sitting in front of a coach, and I have coaches, I enjoy being coached, although I sometimes feel my ego, rear its head in another, like, hey, who are you to show that? So the openness is important. When you're open, you continue to learn because we learn every day. I was saying to you earlier before we started that the person who landed in the lockdown doesn't exist anymore. And it's because of growth. The willingness to keep looking, to keep harvesting those insights, and to keep integrating them into decisions and choices moving forward to create this future that you have committed to. So that's when you work with a coach, the openness is critical. The other aspect that I believe in, and if you go with the ICF ethics, that coaching is not a crutch. So we coach for a goal, and at the end of that goal, we part ways unless there's another goal. So how I coach is I always make sure that somewhere in the middle of my coaching contract, I hand over the self-coaching to my clients. So my objective is always twofold: to get to the goal that we have contracted, and to also equip my clients to know how to self-coach. So even when you don't have a coach, make it your business to build your self-coaching muscle. And what do I mean by that? Build a muscle where you know how to honestly look at yourself and acknowledge what you see, even when it's difficult. Acknowledge the insight that you see. Choose what you want to do with that insight in relation to where you want to go and what you want to create. So both ways, it's important to stay authentic. It's important to stay focused. It's important to do the work, to be committed to growing, to want to grow. Because you see, with coaching, nobody can force you to be coached. You can only get the benefit from coaching when you know the value for yourself. So in parting, I would say continue to source the services of a coach and build your own muscle to self-coach, because that is how you take full responsibility for your growth. And the self-awareness also grows.
Absolutely. And I'm all for enabling and empowering. And I think that's what we teach leaders now. Leaders need to enable and empower.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you're doing. You're allowing them to do it themselves. And
Yes.
I think that's the only way you can say you've succeeded as a coach or as a leader.
For sure.
When the people are now in a position to do it themselves and they're like, yay, I can do this. The tools, I've been given the tools, but I've also done the work. As you said, commitment. I've committed to this journey. I've done the work. But now I'm in a place where I can run this thing on my own until that challenge that's completely new coming. Then I can engage again.
Yes. Yes.
I absolutely enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
I've learned so much. And, as you said, we never stop learning and growing. When we started, you and I spoke about it before we went live. When we started this, the lockdown, when this pandemic was getting, was becoming havoc in our country, we never thought that we would be disrupted in this way. We knew
Yeah.
we were going to be disrupted when the president announced that you will not go anywhere, da 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 da. But I don't think we actually comprehended the extent to which it's going to disrupt our lives.
Yes, yes.
And I suppose the resilience that we often speak about, the commitment to continue to do the work of the self, and to reflect. I mean, we can't do all of this if we don't reflect and
Exactly.
acknowledge where you are and where you ought to be. Acknowledge the gap. And now, what do I do to close the gap? It's taking that step and making that commitment.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Any closing words from you before we say goodbye to our audience?
I suppose my closing remark is that everybody's a coach. Everybody's a coach. So, step up, coach yourself, and coach others around you. And you do that by just knowing how to use powerful, open questions, inquisitive enough to make people look where they haven't looked before, and then harvest the insights and use them to make decisions and choices.
Wow. Those are powerful closing words.
Thank you.
Harvesting the insights to make powerful decisions and influence decisions. I think I can't say anything further than that, except I absolutely and thoroughly enjoyed this first episode. I'm going to be having fun in the next 8 weeks as I'm engaging with this incredible women. And I really, really hope that you as a person who was watching this have enjoyed and learned as much as you can. Let's continue to engage. And let's continue to do the work of being authentic. I think we've heard so much from O's Queen, how much it is beneficial to be authentic. And if you're not, some of those pitfalls thereof. So enjoy your evening or morning, wherever in the world you may be. Thank you so much for watching. And let's continue to make an impact in the world.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.